this is not just a letter. This is actually something that's creating a real life impact. And we've actually had people reach out to us who have said, this letter saved my life.
Yeah.
This came at a time where it saved my life. And that is, like, what more could you ask for? Like, that is just the biggest impact you can imagine.
Welcome to the Legacy Collective podcast. My name's Brendan and I'm from School Fun Run. Today I'm talking to Abbie Williams about her charity, Letters of Hope. It's an inspiring chat about how we can help each other as we travel through life together.
In my own mental health journey, I'd seen that the way we treat others is a massive part of where our mental health journey goes, good and bad. So in my late teens, I was in a domestic violence relationship, and that really showed me if people treat us poorly and don't show us kindness, it's very easy for us to hit rock bottom. But during that time, there were moments where people did treat me with kindness, and those moments changed my perspective and allowed me to get out of that situation because they gave me confidence and they gave me faith in humanity again. So there was a particular time where I can't remember exactly what happened, but an incident happened in that relationship and I had to get the bus to work. And I got on the bus and I was just crying. I didn't care. I was so down and low that I was just sobbing on this bus.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't care.
Yeah, who
I'm
sees
so
me,
down.
what I look like, I
Yeah.
need to cry. Yeah.
And most people, like they do, were like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to
go near
do.
that
Let's
lady.
just ignore
Yeah,
this.
sure.
One man got on the bus and he came up to me and he said, can I sit next to you?
Wow.
I said, oh yeah, okay. And my whole journey to work, we just had a chat. I told him about what was going on. None of my friends and family knew that this relationship was abusive, but I could tell this man. He didn't know me.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to judge me. And he just showed me so much kindness in that moment. And I remember walking off that bus being like, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this situation, but I am. And there are some good people in this world. And I want to be that person to other people one day.
Now, by kindness, he showed kindness on the bus.
He did.
Do you mean he showed kindness just because he wanted to sit and listen to you?
Yeah.
Did he give you like advice? Like what was it about? I mean, obviously he took the time.
Yeah.
But was it as simple as he just wanted to be there for you in that moment?
It was. Like, he was a stranger. He didn't have to even talk to me. He didn't have to comfort me, but he did comfort me. And I remember one of the things that he said was, you're not alone and you can get through this. And they are words that I often now use when I write a letter of hope because they stood out to me. And, you know, although I felt really stuck at that time, those words stuck with me and they still stick with me and they will stick with me, I think, forever. So those words showed me, you know, I am going to get out of this, and they showed me that I can tell other people that they're going to get through these things too.
You know, I really love that story, and I get it from your point of view, and I think that he's like a wonderful man. Yeah. But I'll tell you how I interpret that from my point of view. Yeah. Right? If I got on that bus, I would love to think I would sit next to you. Yeah. But the truth is, I wouldn't. Yeah. And the reason I wouldn't is because I would think, that girl's having such a hard day. Yeah. If I go over there, she's going to think I'm a creep, and it's going to add drama to an already drama-filled day, right?
Valid.
So it's not that I don't, I mean, in all honesty, a part of me would be, I don't need that in my life. Sure, I get that. Yeah. A bigger part of me would just be like, that girl's having a hard day. The last thing she needs is a stranger walking over and getting up in her grill and saying, you know, what's going on? Okay?
Yeah.
So for you to share that kind of story for me is really eye-opening, and I'm sure it is for other people, because you said earlier in our chat that kindness, like if you do something from the right place in your heart, I can't remember your exact words, but like basically I think we were talking about the letters and the fact that you can write whatever you want to write as long as it comes from a place of care, something like that, 100%,
right? 100%, yeah.
So you can take those actions if it comes from a place of care.
Yeah.
And you look, you may that man may have been rejected. Like you may have said to him, don't get in my space or whatever. Yeah. But he could always hang his head that he went with the best of intent and tried.
Yeah.
And I think that would alleviate a lot of fear for like people, like even me.
Yeah.
That is honestly what I think would hold me back from getting involved, is that I don't want to add to your mental hardship today by being another problem in your life. But we don't have to be problems. We can at least go with good intent and hopefully be it. Because if you don't do it, nothing's going to happen. If you don't do it, that girl's still going to be crying on the bus by herself, right?
That's true. And I think we are often really scared to interfere, and we're scared of what people will think. I think sometimes we're scared to be vulnerable as well. The key thing in that story was he came over and he said, would you mind if I sit next to you?
Yes.
And I think, do you know what? It's okay to go up to someone and be completely authentic and vulnerable and just say, hey, I don't want to make you feel worse, so you can tell me to go away. But I just want to check, are you okay, and would it help if I spoke to you? Just be completely transparent.
Yeah.
And when people are transparent, it's hard to get mad at that.
Yeah.
And people will be honest to you in return as well.
So, Abbie, how did all this start for you?
When I moved out here from the UK, I found a lot of comfort in the handwritten letters from my grandparents and the impact that would have on my mental health. So when Letters of Hope started, it started very much as a passion project, something I would do outside of work. As I shared my story, people started reaching out and saying, hey, I struggle with my mental health and I would absolutely love to get involved in writing these letters. So it's been really beautiful because it's something that's grown very organically.
I can see that, yeah.
And that's why we've got this amazing volunteer base of people with lived experience, because mostly word of mouth, to be honest. We also have a lot of people who actually receive a handwritten letter from us and then they say, hey, I actually want to send one to someone else who's struggling, which is amazing because that means that they find a sense of purpose in what they're doing. One thing that people have learnt through volunteering with us is it's really difficult to say the wrong thing when you're coming from that place of care and concern. Yeah. I think sometimes we get hung up on wanting to solve the problem, right? And a lot of the time we're not meant to. We're just meant to be there and provide that connection and that support, and knowing that somebody is there and cares about you. And even if that's a stranger, can be really huge in someone's mental health journey, I think.
And Abbie, is it important the letters are sent from anonymous people?
When people request a letter, we give them the opportunity to share what they're going through. And sometimes people don't want to share, and that's absolutely fine. And that's still pretty beautiful because, you know, there's no expectation of them having to share, but they still get this beautiful thing in return. But a lot of the time we get people's stories, and oftentimes those people will say, nobody in my life knows what I'm going through. And they feel this great sense of relief just being able to let that all out and share that with somebody who they're never going to meet, who's not going to judge them. They're probably never going to see that person. So it just creates a platform where people can share without judgment and with no shame. And I think that's a big weight off someone's shoulders when they're going through such a hard time.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
And the point that you made earlier about most of us are walking around trying to solve people's problems.
Yeah.
I think if you know the person, like you really want that, because you want them to get back to an area where they feel empowered about life.
Yeah.
So you're desperately trying to help them, which includes trying to solve their problems, right?
It does.
And sometimes, as you said, people just want to express themselves, and that's enough. Yeah. So writing to a stranger could be a therapeutic way of just expressing yourself without the need for someone to come back and try to solve your problem.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. In my own mental health journey, I've definitely noticed that if I share with loved ones, there is, I think, that additional pressure on those people to fix what I'm going through. And sometimes I'm not ready for that. Sometimes I'm in this place, I'm not actually ready to take that next step, but I just want somebody to share this with who can just be there to listen and nothing else beyond that for now.
Yeah. That's a great first step. Do your grandparents know that they're kind of a big part of your origin story? Did you share that with them? Are they still around? Do they know? Yeah,
they do. They're so proud. My granddad unfortunately passed away during COVID, but I've still got my nana on my dad's side. She turned 90 in last year, and then I've got my granddad on my mum's side, and we still exchange a lot of handwritten letters.
Yeah.
And I think it's been really rewarding for them just to see how those little moments have evolved into something really big and how they've inspired that journey.
Yeah, well, I think also just the fact that they were able to help their granddaughter, right? Without, Letters of Hope is a big part of your life and your own mental health well-being journey.
Yeah.
And they're a big part of that. And
they are.
I can only imagine from a grandparent's point of view, that's the best gift you could give to a granddaughter.
Oh, yeah. And I think, look, when I first started receiving their letters when I moved out here, the last few years I've started to be a lot more open about my mental health. I speak about it all the time because, in my opinion, the more we share, the more other people can feel safe to share. But at the time they started sending me letters, I don't think they knew where I was at in my mental health journey. But they didn't need to, because for me, them just sending those letters, taking time out of their day to do something tangible and show that they care was enough. I think
Well, it was probably better. Because you know that they weren't doing it to solve a problem. They were doing it because they wanted to do it.
Exactly.
And that probably means the world.
Exactly. And just that sign that, hey, they're thinking of me all the time. I matter to them. I
really want to acknowledge you for being you, because not everybody does what you do, which is I had a lived experience. I know what it feels like, and I'm through that to some extent, but I'm going to stop and help other people.
Yeah.
Not everybody does it. So I just want to say thank you to you. And I also want to say thank you to the people that write the letters, because they are part of that and they're doing a lot of that work to make this happen.
I often go through the day-to-day of the charity, and every now and then I will just try to take pause and be like, wow, on a personal level, this charity has saved me. And I've come so far in terms of my own mental health journey. Like, when I was in my late teens, I would not be able to sit in a classroom and share so much as my name without having a panic attack.
Wow.
And now I'm in a position where, I do things like this. I go out and I public speak and I genuinely enjoy it. I'm not terrified anymore. Yeah. So on a personal level, it's been massive. But to your point, running a charity is hard and there are a lot of obstacles and a lot of barriers. And some days are a struggle. So thank you. I think hearing things like that, these are the moments that keep me motivated and keep me going. So I appreciate it.
Well, you're most welcome. And how do you care for yourself? Like, just along those lines, you're obviously caring for other people, but to your own point, it's not easy. Yeah. So how do you look after your own mental health while you're caring for other people?
Yeah, good question. And I think the irony is, when you're in the mental health space, it's really hard sometimes to practice what you preach. So I have to really check in with myself. And oftentimes that's, been like, Abbie, you're telling a lot of people to take care of themselves. Are you taking care of yourself? So for me, It's about being proactive. I try to make sure I get my walk in every day, get my fresh air in. I lean on my unofficial therapy dog, Benji, a lot.
I'm sure also helps with the walks. Yeah,
he does.
Yeah.
He gets me out of the house on the days that I don't want to get out of the house.
Yeah.
I try to journal. I try to do a bit of mindfulness, yoga, things like that. But also just keeping on top of things, I guess, at that medical level. So, it's still a journey. I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder last year. We're in 2025 now.
Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah.
So it's not like that journey is perfect. It's not like it's, I'm better now and that's life. Yeah. It's going to be a journey for my entire life, and I'm going to have to keep on top of that. I'm going to keep seeking professional help and just growing and learning on my own journey as well. Yeah.
What do you think's so special about letters? Like, it's a very not a new age thing, right? Like, we all use digital, whether it's like messenger or email, and then you've gone back to the idea of a handwritten letter.
Yeah.
What's so special about a letter?
Well, I think that is what makes it special. Nobody actually sends handwritten letters anymore.
Yeah.
Even birthday cards and things like that, people often order them online and they're typed out.
Yeah.
So I think receiving something that's been more thought through, that has taken more time, that somebody has actually sat down and very intentionally taken time out of their day to dedicate to you and creating that tangible thing for you is massive. And I think that's the other thing. It is tangible. It's something that you keep. It's not on a computer. It can't get deleted. We don't file it away somewhere and forget about it online.
Yeah.
Actually, we have a lot of people who keep those letters. So we hear stories of people framing them, keeping them on their bedside table, keeping them in their handbag if they ever need to read it again. We've got a volunteer, Arthur, who just went travelling around the world, across 4 continents, I think it was, carried that letter of hope with him every step of the way.
Yeah.
How special is that? You don't get that with emails, No, we forget about them.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's really special.
And I like everything you've said is obviously the headline act of that.
Yeah.
But I think also opening a letter, it feels almost like a present. Like there's a sense of occasion that the letter arrives.
Yeah.
And you get to open it, and it's not a bill. Like it's a good thing.
It's the whole experience, and that's what stood out to me with my grandparents' letters. It wasn't just the letter; it was actually on a tough day, being excited to go check the mailbox because something might be in there.
Yes.
And that anticipation.
Yeah.
Seeing handwriting on the front of the letter, like every letter of hope we send, I handwrite the address on the front. I wax seal every single letter, so there's that beautiful moment where people are like, oh wow, it really is that old school traditional letter.
Yeah. There's a real sense of occasion to getting the letter.
Definitely.
That's amazing. Like you talked about Arthur travelling the world with his letter.
Yeah.
Are there any other stories like that spring to mind?
Oh, there are. There's so many, but the one that always stands out to me and that is always kept close to my heart is one of the first letters that I sent. And it was to somebody in New Zealand. She had reached out because she was in a really depressive state. So she shared that, she'd barely left the house for quite some time, and she was feeling really isolated and lonely. And so I wrote her a letter of hope, and this was really early on when, I'd have a little biro pen and a rubbish piece of paper and really basic.
Yeah, early days.
We've evolved a bit since then.
No wax seals back then?
No wax seals. But she reached out and she shared this beautiful photo of her holding up a letter and this massive smile on her face. Yeah. And she was like, I left the house today. I went to a shopping centre. I got my nails done. I treated myself, and I was able for the first time in weeks to get out the house. And that for me was just a really big example of the fact that this is not just a letter. This is actually something that's creating a real life impact. And we've actually had people reach out to us who have said, this letter saved my life.
Yeah.
This came at a time where it saved my life. And that is, like, what more could you ask for? Like, that is just the biggest impact you can imagine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the apex of helping people,
Definitely.
Right? And you mentioned New Zealand.
Yeah.
So are these letters going all over the world? Is that what I'm hearing? Other than in Arthur's suitcase.
Yeah.
They're going via mail service?
They are. We've sent letters to over 27 different countries.
Yeah, wow.
And again, it just speaks to the fact that this is a worldwide problem, right? There are a lot of people struggling no matter where they're from. We've sent letters to, like, Iceland. Like, it's a tiny country. Our letters got to Iceland.
That's cool.
We've sent them all over the world. So it's been amazing in that sense. And just knowing that letter's making it so far around the world is amazing.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
One of the things that we're big on at the Legacy Collective is not only talking to amazing people about what they're doing, but understanding how they got to be where they are.
Yeah.
Right? So when you're talking about being at high school and struggling to even say your name, that is part of the story.
It is.
However, there's a bigger part of the story where you became a force to be reckoned with, right? You got through what you were going through, and then you were like, watch me now, right? My experience is that doesn't just happen because you wake up one day and you go, I'm Abbie and this is my new life.
Exactly.
Someone at some point believed in you and gave you the confidence to be you.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit about those people and who they might be and what they did for you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, one of the biggest things, honestly, and it's really nice to reflect on this. No one's ever asked me that question. When I went to university, I was still struggling a lot with panic attacks. And, you know, that's the moment I reached out for help after years and years of struggling. And one of those avenues of help was a counsellor at university called Jeanette. Still remember her name. Still remember exactly what she looked like. I would see her once a week. And there came a point in our sessions together where I felt that I'd come quite a long way. Still work to do, but things had definitely changed. And I'd started to notice, you know, in different places, getting the bus to university, being in class, being in lectures, being at my retail job, I'd started to pick up on signs that people around me might be struggling, whether that's a stranger or someone I knew. So I would start to say, okay, that person looks like they're anxious and I understand how that feels. And I just want to help them. It's going back to what we spoke about earlier. I want to help, but instead I do nothing because I didn't want to make it worse. And so I remember going along to one of our appointments and I was like, I really want to use my experience to try and help other people who are going through similar things. The first thing she said to me was, are you sure? Could this be really triggering for your own mental health?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, like, honestly, I feel like this is what I'm here to do. And I was studying English at uni, so totally unrelated. And
helps to write letters, but
actually true. It's come in handy in that regard.
Better than math.
Definitely. I didn't think about that. But she reached out to different community organisations for me because she was like, we need to get you doing some volunteer work. Let's get you using this lived experience. Yeah. And that's what she did. She referred me to a community organisation where I became a volunteer peer support worker. I got paired up with a service user who, you know, Jeanette was one of those people who inspired me, but this service user of this organisation, that experience changed my life. So we spent a year together. We'd see each other once a week. Sometimes we'd just chat. and just I'd hear her out, hear about her current struggles, try to link her in with support. But one of the things we did, and this is where my degree came in handy, we wrote her life story together in that year. And we got it printed up at the end. And I've still got a copy of her book.
Wow.
And just seeing...
And you did this in your own time, right? This was like a volunteer thing.
Volunteer role.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just seeing how far she came from us having that social connection once a week. I had no mental health qualifications. I did a bit of training through the community org. That was it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've been able to help this person just by seeing her, just by listening to her, and just by helping her do the things she wants to do. I think that was a moment where I was like, right, I can help people. And I don't know what that looks like yet, but I'm not done with this. And I know that one day I'm going to make change in this space. So they were probably the integral moments for me, where I really was able to see that sometimes the simplest of things can be really crucial in someone's mental health journey.
Well, you certainly found your purpose, right? And thanks to those people you did it. What do you think people could do to best help kids?
Yeah, great question. And I'm glad you asked it because I reflect on this a lot.
Okay.
I reflect on teenage Abbie all the time. And a lot of me considers how different my mental health journey might have been if somebody had intervened, if somebody had kind of reached out and said, hey, I've noticed that you're not quite yourself, or I've noticed actually that this behaviour is a little bit odd from you. What's going on? And honestly, I think that's what it's about. It's about, first of all, approaching the person, but also going into that conversation knowing you're probably not going to fix what the person's going through, right? So that's first thing. Telling yourself, I don't need to have the answers. Letting the person know that, hey, I'm a little bit out of my depth here, but I'm really worried about you and I think we can try and figure this out together. That's a massive thing. So I think, number one, reaching out, not ignoring it. And I think, yes, it's overwhelming, but just reminding yourself, this little moment of discomfort for me is worth working through because of the potential outcome that I will get from this conversation, which is helping and supporting this person. People are often worried about rejection. If that rejection happens, that's fine. It's just about saying, I understand, but I am here when you're ready to talk about this. And it's really about working through it together. How can I help you? What do you need from me? Have you ever felt like this before? What helped then? Can we have a look at re-engaging you with that thing that really helped you before? So I think it really is about reaching out, making sure that you do intervene and you do engage in that conversation. Also acknowledging, I'm not going to fix everything. Who are the people that can? So there are some amazing youth mental health organisations, like Headspace being one, and lots of others out there. So actually engaging with them in order to find out what's going to help this person, how can we link them in with that professional help and support, and the things that potentially I'm not going to be able to fix.
Yeah, great advice.
Yeah.
The other day I had a chat with a former big wave surfer, like a Red Bull athlete called Mark Matthews.
Awesome.
And he was talking about, because he does public speaking now, and he was, the reason I bring it up is it's not the same thing as what you do, but you'll get it when I tell you. So he tells people to send a text message of gratitude regularly to someone in their phone, because we don't do it, right? Like
So
you
true.
think about it, but you don't do it.
Yeah.
And he said, you send this out and it's amazing the responses that you get back.
Yeah.
Because you're not asking for anything.
Yeah.
You're not telling them anything other than you're grateful.
Yeah.
So it's not a news update and it's not a favour being asked. It's literally just a statement of gratitude.
Yeah.
And he said that human connection, just being with someone, because we live such individual lives now, that literally sending text messages back and forward that are unmotivated by anything but a statement of gratitude makes a difference.
That's massive.
And I can just see parallels with the letters that you send. Like it's that there's something about human connection that changes the world when it's done with good intent.
Yeah, I really like that. And that's an awesome thing that he suggests. And, you know, it's something that I try to replicate in my personal life as well as through Letters of Hope. Like start of this year, because Christmas was too hectic, I wrote a lot of letters of gratitude and I gave them out. And it you know, post office, the guy who helps me with post office.
Of course, the big part of your life and probably doesn't even realise what he's doing.
The cafe under my apartment building, like there were days that I went down to that cafe when I was in a depressive episode and it's the only thing I did that day. And I wrote this letter to them and I said, hey, you know, you don't know what I'm going through, but you have always given me that coffee with a smile on your face and a little bit of conversation, and that's had a massive impact. And I think it's really important that we don't keep that stuff in our minds and we let it out and we tell people what they mean to us, even when it's small moments or it's someone that we interact with not that much, letting them know, hey, you have this impact on my life. They were so grateful.
And I think also framing it for people in a way they don't see it. Like you're talking about a postal worker and a barista.
And
if you said to those people, what do you do? They would say, you know, I sort mail and make coffee. But not really. You're connecting people in all kinds of ways.
Exactly.
It actually reminds me of my dad when my grandmother, his mum, was in a retirement village. And he would walk, post that, she was in a nursing home. So he would walk in and the nurses would be there, right? Now, working in a nursing home as a nurse is a tough job. Like there's, you know, lots of things you have to do and see that you probably don't want to. Like you're happy to do it because that's your calling in life, but it's not, you know, it's not Disneyland.
It's a tough job for
and
sure.
Dad would walk in and he would make big statements to the nurses about, you know, the people in this nursing home have lived through world wars and Great Depressions and raised huge families, and you know, it must be so wonderful to care for them in their time of need, in their final days. And it's just reframing it that you're not a registered nurse or you're not a nurse. You are, but that's like saying you're a postal worker or you're a barista. It's the question is, what are you doing? And you guys are looking after a generation that went through a lot so that we can have the life that we have today. But you don't go to work and always put yourself in that headspace.
You don't.
And I think that's where those letters that you wrote are beautiful, because you're reframing what it is that those people do in a way they may not know.
Exactly. And what a beautiful way for your dad to just put things into perspective, because they would have some tough days. And, you know,
absolutely.
It's hard when you're in the day-to-day of work to see what the greater purpose is of what you're doing sometimes. So statements like that can have a massive impact on people. Like, they'll carry that, I reckon.
I think so.
They'll carry that with them.
And, you know, getting back to the man on the bus story, even if they don't, Dad tried to put his positive spin and make their lives better. So, you know, doing what you think is right is sometimes a wonderful thing.
And it's important, I think. Yeah, definitely.
What do you think are like the biggest misconceptions around mental health?
Ooh, good question. I think it's really difficult when somebody has not been through a mental health struggle. It's really difficult to see why somebody might be behaving in a certain way, right? So I reflect on when I'm depressed. As I mentioned earlier, I can't get out of bed on some of those days. I struggle to keep in touch with people. So I'll receive messages from friends and they might not get a reply from me for 1-2 weeks, right? They could easily perceive that as, she's not making any effort, what a terrible friend. I've got amazing friends who they just know. They know it's me struggling. They'll say, hey, just wanted to let you know I'm here. So I think it's important not to disregard somebody because of how we perceive their behaviour. It's important to ask the question, hey, I noticed that you've not replied to me for a little while. Is everything okay? Instead of making assumptions about people's behaviour. So I think that's a big part of it is somebody might look at me from the outside and be like, oh, wow, she's pretty lazy, you know.
Yeah.
Her apartment's a mess. She's not getting out of bed. That's pretty lazy.
Or they might look at you and go, she's so together. She's running her charity. She's helping all these people, but she's not responding to me. So she doesn't value me.
That is the other thing. And I think the other assumption that we can sometimes make is that we're going to know when someone's struggling. There are some signs that we can look out for, but oftentimes somebody might appear on the surface to have it all together, to be really happy, when actually there's a lot going on for them under the surface. And I think particularly now in this generation where we've got social media, we're seeing the highlights reel of somebody's life, it can be easy for us, if we feel like we don't have it together, to think, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with my life? That person's got it all together. I can guarantee that person's probably going through something that you've got no idea about.
So if there was someone out there that wanted to start their own charity because they have a cause that they're impassioned by, do you have any advice for them?
I do. It's my first bit of advice is please don't get overwhelmed. When you register as a charity and you do the formal thing, it's easy to get overwhelmed and it's easy to think this is just too hard, right? And I did that a few times. I was like, this is a beautiful passion project that's really easy outside of work. Do I really want to make this my career? That's going to be massive and there's going to be a lot of challenges ahead. Don't let that deter you. There are a limited number of people in this world who are willing to make a difference to their communities, to the world at large. Be that person. If you've got that motivation, if you've got an idea, do not let it sit in your brain. Let it out and start to do something about it. Please. We need more people like that. So first of all, be driven by that passion. And you know what? You're not going to know everything. So reach out to people and say, hey, I know that you know more about this. Can you help me? If you don't know anyone in your life like that, reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to be that person who's like, hey, this is how I got started. And share that information with somebody.
Yeah, I also think another point about building something with people, especially like that, is that it endures you in the sense that, like, if you enroll other people to your cause and you need them because they know things that you don't know, all of a sudden you have a team of people. And if something was to happen to one of those people, the mission continues. Because it's not built on you and you alone. And there's something powerful about that too, because, you know, like, people do change focus and they do change jobs and they do like there's a season for all things and nothing lasts forever. But it would be a real shame for someone to start a great cause and then decide to pursue another path and that cause just dies a death because no one's there to run with it.
That's so
I think reaching out to people and saying, can you help me with this, if it's the kind of thing, like, it's what you're talking about is it's such a heart-led cause, which most charity causes are, that there will be people like you that want to help you and want to drive it forward, but they've just never had the initiative to go and register the charity and get started. But if you take the first step, chances are there's people that will want to help you, which will lighten your load.
Definitely. And I think that's key. It's easy. One thing I found when I started Letters of Hope and I left my full-time job to grow it, I felt really lonely. And so one of the biggest things for me is I joined 2 programs. So one for social entrepreneurs, the other one for female founders. Those 2 things for me were absolutely critical in the journey of Letters of Hope, because it showed me there is a community of people. I can tap into this network. It prompted me to recruit more board members who have experience that I've got no idea about, right? So they can do things that I would never be able to do. But as you said, it just means if I ever have a change in life circumstance, or like last year I had to take some time out because of my bipolar diagnosis. That was a lot. I've got all these people wrapped around me who are able to lighten the load, and who at the end of the day, when I have to let go of letters of hope, they're going to take it forward, and it's going to be a thing that hopefully exists far into the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we obviously have a lot of school listeners, like teachers and parents on P&Cs and P&Fs.
Yeah.
If they are listening to this and it's resonating with them, is there any way schools can get involved en masse with Letters of Hope?
There is. So last year we actually directly spoke to over 1,000 school students.
In letters?
No, we went and spoke and delivered workshops
verbally.
To them.
Yeah. Okay, great.
So they were letter writing workshops. So I went in and just shared a bit of information about mental health and Letters of Hope's journey.
Yeah.
And then we ran a letter writing workshop. And honestly, we've been to primary schools as well as high schools. I am constantly blown away by kids knowing the exact right thing to say. It's incredible. I think sometimes they don't overthink it as much as we do, right?
I'm sure they don't overthink it.
So workshops, I'm always happy to, or our volunteers are always happy to come out and speak to schools.
Yeah.
But outside of that, we do a lot of group volunteering. So we've got some resources on our website, and we've had teachers and schools run their own activities with students. We've got resources to lead that activity, and they can just get their students involved in writing Letters of Hope, and then we can get them out to people who need them.
Amazing. And is that just lettersofhope.com.au?
It's lettersofhope.care. Thank you.
Oh, you are most welcome. What a great chat.
Awesome. That was great. Cool. It went so quick as well. My gosh.
Well, you had a lot of good stuff to talk about. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Legacy Collective podcast. Copyright by School Fun Run. Today's episode was brought to you by Funzy. You can find out more at funzy.com.au. And if you'd like to access other podcasts, we produce one called Chase the Fun. It's narrated by Chase the Cheetah, and it's made specifically for kids in primary school to help them develop characters to become the best human beings they can be. See you in the next episode.